So welcome to day 2 of the True False Film Festival. Today's panel is the new Chinese nonfiction. We've got some really outstanding guests here with some great work to show. The format of this presentation will be a little different from what you may be used to. The organizers of the festival wanted me to try to do something similar to what I did in my film Transformers: The Premake, where everything happens on the desktop screen. So there's going to be a lot of things kind of flying by in the background. Hopefully it will be useful and exciting desktop mode presentation, complementing the live human beings who will be talking as well. If you're interested, the film will be showing at 12 o'clock, actually right immediately after this panel. I need to run over to Oddfellows and watch my film at the Brush with Fame program. And then also I want to mention that at 4:45 at the Vimeo Theater, Zhao Qi's film, the film that Zhao Qi produced, The Chinese Mayor, will be playing. So I really hope that you make a point to see it then. So let me just also mention that before I made Transformers: The Premake, I've been involved with this distribution company called Degenerate Films, whose mission is to distribute Chinese independent films in the United States. We've noticed that it's often hard to access Chinese documentaries, especially independent documentaries and films. And so we made our mission to make these films available. And we've always kind of had our eye on what Zhao Qi's been up to. He's produced a number of films and he's directed his own films as well. And the success that he's had is remarkable. There is this one article, Crows and Sparrows. This website, Crows and Sparrows, does a lot of research into Chinese independent films. And they actually did a research project where they looked at all the feature documentaries from 1990 to 2015 that were shown in the Sundance Film Festival, or premiered at the festival. And so Chinese Mayor, producer Qi Zhao, Fallen City, director and producer Qi Zhao, China Heavyweight, producer Qi Zhao. So you notice a pattern. I think that's really remarkable, and that's something that we want to talk to Qi Zhao about this kind of secret of being able to successfully introduce Chinese independent documentaries to a mainstream audience. But before we do that, let's begin by talking about this other phenomena that's happening in China, which is the microfilm or micro-documentary. This is something that's happened just in the last few years, and it's really remarkable how the internet has played a role in making filmmaking and independent type films more accessible in China through these microfilms. And so I want to introduce 2 of our guests, once I get this up here, sorry. Ming Yang, or Yang, is it Yang Ming? Sorry, the Chinese family name Yang Ming, who is the dean of Nanjing University Media Department. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Jingling College.
Jingling College, Nanjing University.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Wang Zhenzheng, are you also of Nanjing University also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the organizers of a global Chinese university student microfilm festival whose mission is twofold. They want to make more of these micro documentaries available and really promote them and make them recognized as this important phenomenon in China and outside China, and also to promote the making of these films. And so I want to let them talk about it. Here's the website for the latest edition of the China University Microfilm Festival. It's in Chinese. But it just shows how much activity and how many of these films are currently being produced and available on this website. Here's the 2013 edition, and then here's the 2012 edition. So Dean Yang, why don't you please introduce the concept of the festival? Why did you initiate it, and what has the result been so far?
就是你为什么要 开展这个大学生微电影节？介绍。
大家好，我们是在2012年，实际上2011年就开始策划，2012年举办了这个大学生电影节，这是第一届面向全球华语大学生开展的一个微型电影活动。
2012 is the first time we held the Global Chinese University Microfilm Festival.
我们希望在今天这样一个互联网或者新媒体对传统媒体进行颠覆的时代，我们在尝试和探索一种把这个电影成为每一个个人个体能够表现自我、表达自我的一个平台。
In the age of new media, we try to find a path, find an express way for the ordinary person.
谢谢。今天大概到现在，我们今年是第三届华语大学生微电影节。每一届大概有140所到170所的中国大学和海外的12到14个国家参加的这个大学生电影活动。
Okay, this year is the third times CUMF, and every year almost 140 Chinese universities or research institutions or colleges attend our festival.
到2014这一届有1400多部影片参赛。
Last year, in the third film festival, about 1,400 works in our festival.
谢谢。
Okay, great. Why don't we just show a few excerpts of examples of some of these micro documentaries? So we have 3 that we can show excerpts of, and these are the prize winners. Like, these are the best of the best. So to give you an idea of kind of what the look and feel of these films are. This one is called Shooting Beijing Lanes Before Being Torn Down. So let's just watch the first minute or so of this. Okay, so Mr. Kimura, who I guess is a Japanese man, has been photographing the alleyways of Beijing for the last 30 years, even as they're being torn down. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And then let's watch another example called Conflict in the No Shepherding Grasslands. Actually, can you tell us a little bit about the filmmaker who made the Beijing film? Like, is he a student, or what is his background?
Just a common university student, not very professional yet. Just he is interested in shooting microfilm, and you will find that the film is very short, and the point is very little. So usually in one microfilm, just we talk about not very big topics, not very important social topics, but we will find a very interesting point.
So what did the jury think was so remarkable about this film that they gave it the award? What really moved them, or
move
the jury to give the award?
The topics he talked about the hutong, the Beijing lane. Yeah. The topic is very important and remarkable. So this work got a prize, but not the highest prize, not the golden prize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's watch.
And the angle of he shoot this film is very good because through the photographer's lens to tell the story.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like multiple layers of documentary because the photographer is doing documentary photo, and then the film is about his act of documentary.
Yes, and he chose a Japanese photographer. Yeah, a person from another country to record the culture, the history of China, but maybe most of Chinese doesn't realize we should protect this. Yeah, because hutong isn't only a building or rooms for persons for the city. I think hutong is a lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an old way of life that's kind of literally being destroyed.
Yes.
And instead, we're having these huge apartments, and people just don't have the sense of seeing each other the same way. Yeah. Let's watch another example. This one is called Conflict in the No Shepherd Grasslands, also a prize winner in 2013.
不是和你没关系，动，我告诉你。我们跟这没关系，不，我们跟这没关系。别。我不会告诉你，绝对可以。你可以啊，打这个你上哪去？
Okay, so what we just witnessed was some sort of conflict or fight between the filmmakers and the shepherd. So can you explain to us what was going on?
Okay, yeah, because when the shepherd works, there were some officials to catch up their sheep. Yeah, because in this district there is a banning of shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the shepherd doesn't believe in the journalism. Yeah, he thought maybe the students are some persons from the government.
So, okay, so this is a protected land. You're not supposed to have sheep grazing. And okay, to protect the environment. So then, what would you say is the role of the filmmaker? First of all, are they students also, or are they professionals?
Students, non-professional.
Okay, and then what is their motivation to make the film? Is it to kind of catch? Because he says here, we have nothing to do with these people. When he says we have nothing to do with the police. Is that what he means?
Yeah, actually, this microfilm wants to say the conflict between the policy of protect the environment to return the cultivate field to forest, but the persons who lived in the grassland lost their economics. Yeah, lost their income. So
the filmmaker has to play this role
yes.
of trying to capture this reality and this conflict.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it must be very difficult for a student filmmaker to try to strike this balance. Yeah.
Yeah. The students just let you see the conflict. Yeah.
That's great. So that's more of an example of kind of this social documentary in a very kind of controversial or difficult situation. And so let's watch one more example. And this one is actually produced and directed by Dean Yang from 2012. And it premiered at the Paris Chinese Film Festival and won an award. And I think it's amazing because it's actually about one of the earliest documentary makers, right? Or Sun Mingjing, right?
Yes.
Who was kind of like this pioneer who traveled all around the world. Can you introduce us a little bit about Sun Mingjing?
你能够更多的介绍一点？
这是我们2012年拍的一部关于民国时期，在中华民国时期，就1920年代一直到1980年代，大概这一段时间中国的民国教育的一个重要部分，也就是最早的电影教育启蒙于中国的这个金陵大学。我们找到了这个启蒙者或者说奠基人，然后拍摄了一部关于他的个人的传记文献纪录片。
The film of Sun Mingjing is made in 2012. Mr. Sun is the founder of Chinese film education, and he is the first man who sent the film courses in China, just in Nanjing. So that is in the Republic of China, about the last century, 20th series to, his career is from last century's 20th series to 80th series, and 还有什么？
他是中国第一个电影教师。
He is the first Chinese film teacher.
So this is remarkable because it's like you're reclaiming or revisiting kind of like a forgotten history of Chinese filmmaking and documentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he made lots of documentary about about 他拍了一些 agriculture and
他拍了大量的纪录片，是现在我们知道的在民国时期拍摄纪录片最多的一位先行者。
Okay, so let's watch a little bit of this film and get a sense of Sun Mingjing's history.
拍摄于上世纪30-40年代的61部影片惊现南京。与这些老影片一起浮出水面的，是一个同样被忘却的名字——孙明京。他是中国教育纪录片的播种者，在金陵大学创建了中国第一个电影专业，主持拍摄过100多部纪录电影和科教电影，译制了66部外国电影，完成影片5万英尺。他的名字曾被遗忘，因为时间的力量，他在记录历史之后，重新被历史记录。
So I think it's really remarkable that, in a way, you can say he was the first Chinese microfilm director, right? Because his films were quite short. Yeah, just a few minutes each one.
Yeah, about 10 to 20 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, and he's really not that famous in China, would you say? So
No, he's very. At that time, he's very famous, but now, many Chinese forget him.
Right, and so this is why I think it's so valuable to have this type of film. Like it shows that these microfilms are not just showing the untold stories of the present day, but also of the past, and making us remember the history that we've forgotten. So now I want to show a clip from The Chinese Mayor, which you have the opportunity to watch in full in True False. But again, this is the film that won a prize at Sundance, I think a special prize for unparalleled access. This is a 3-minute trailer that I found online. Huh. No, I couldn't find it, but we'll play a bit of it. It's a prize-winning film, so I'm sure any version of it is great. So yeah, like I said, it won a prize for unparalleled access, and even in the reviews, the rave reviews, one of the things they kept talking about in the reviews was this remarkable access. You know, the access that filmmaker Zhou Hao had to his subject was really amazing and incredible. And perhaps, Zhao Qi, you can say a bit about the relationship between Zhou Hao and the subject, the Chinese mayor. How was he able to get access? Well, we can maybe watch the clip first, and then I can ask you the question.
First, and then you know how closely they got
Okay,
together.
great.
采血是中国第一难呀，采血都是不完整的，99.9%都不是啥病房。有时候高兴，做时候也不高兴。我对老天的评价都不公道，你是咋就能这么公道吗？不可能。
你要想拆你就拆嘛，对吧？
不是想拆，谁想拆你呢？
国家的规定他也没有是强制拆迁的，跟你说。
我觉得那个您的这个拆迁流程有，我们不认可。
现在1000多块钱房换成4000多块钱房，你吃亏吗？
不是，你看我拖出去我就多看，我要死你嘛！你这是。
不才是有我们今天大同的形象吗？大同的核心跟生命在文化，只要是把城墙撅起来，把外围筑起来，大同城市品味体系的游戏。
So this is obviously a very remarkable and quite sensitive situation. A city is being torn down to be renovated, and what I love about this is that he's doing it to kind of restore a sense of the history and the past by building this beautiful city wall. But to do so means relocating thousands of people. So it's this conflict between the past and present as well. How did you and Zhou Hao enter this situation that you could get access to the mayor and to the city?
Well, actually, sometimes the access is not seemingly difficult, but actually it's not. As long as you are willing to get there, talk to the character, try to eat with him, you know, walk with him, sleep. I mean, don't really sleep, but try to be very close with him. So I think it's relatively easier to build up the relation with the Chinese. I would say maybe normally the Chinese would have less self-protection mentally. So as long as they find that you are really honest to them, and then they open their hearts to you, even the mayor, quite a high-ranking official, but he's the same. He's just like any of the characters that my previous films, any films I produced, have accessed. No matter he's a farmer, of course in this case it's a little bit different, but in general I would say that the officials in China, they're more open, they know more about the world, just like the mayor Geng, which is not shown here, but he said in the film that he had been to Paris, he's been to Rome, he sees the world. He basically knows how to deal with media, with cameras. And maybe also for him, he may think there's nothing to hide. He has a quite transparent cabinet. He goes to the construction lot every day. There's not much things down beneath the table. So he's willing to get someone to shoot the whole thing. That's how I feel. So I would say, as long as you take the camera and try to convince, try to talk to him. Maybe they are not willing to offer you their life in the first. But if you really, want to do that, and there's always a way that you can convince him, you can move him. That's what I feel. Yes.
So there's the issue of access with regard to Chinese subject matter and figures who you would assume would be not easy to get access to. But I think what's equally challenging is for you as a Chinese filmmaker to have access to an international audience, especially a film festival like Sundance that hasn't really shown a whole lot of Chinese films over the years. And we saw that list. And your name is associated with so many of those films.
I didn't have that article. Can you pass it to me?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
it's a good thing a good thing to put on your wall,
To put on my portfolio.
So, can you tell us a bit about your background in history with Sundance and with the international film market, and how are you able to create the relationships and the sense of connection? It's just as much of a connection with as with the mayor, to have a relationship where your films are recognized and you can continue to show your films in these distribution outlets.
Well, I would say it's really like two parts. One part is to deal with the crew regarding the creative part. The other one is more like technical, producing the film, try to work with programmers, work with publicists, work with the festivals, or even distributors. It's not really, there are many talented directors in China. They're making amazing films. Every year there should be at least, I think, 5 to 10 very well-made independent documentary films by those directors who enjoy a bit of reputation in a very little circle in China. Basically, no one really knows them. The question is how to make these films out. For a long time, because they had been cut away from the international market, because no one is doing that. They need at least an English proposal, an English submission to those festivals, which they're not able to do that. So it's like they become a sort of, self-entertaining little group that they just try to satisfy each other, which is not really, really good. But the thing is that maybe by this tradition for like decades, so it has formed a sort of group characters for these people that they are not really willing to change quite much. They would say they will submit to the international standard, and which means that they will sacrifice to some extent their creative or artistic pursuit in a way, which I disagree, because I think, there's always a balance, there's always a point that you can work the two together. And then there are some sort of directors who are quite open, who are willing to have some changes. They're the directors I worked with. Not exactly, but Zhao Qi is, because Zhao Qi has been making documentary films for like past 15 years. He's prolific. He has over about, I don't know exactly, but maybe around 8 to 10 films made already. So he is regarded as that type of documentary filmmakers in China unlike the other two directors I work with, who is Yang Chan, and he's a Canadian Chinese. He's based in Montreal, yes, and Li Xinfan. He speaks English at least, and he is good looking. So good looking sometimes makes sense, because that's good for the photographers and the publicists. It is actually. And he has a lot of fans in Chinese social networks, which is good to promote the films in a way. But Zhou Hao is not good looking. He's quite old already. He's much older than me. So there should be a way out. You have Zhou Hao's headshot? Okay. Okay. I mean, he's not really ugly, but the thing is that he's willing to have some changes. So because I have always...
He's not bad.
He's been tanned.
Yeah.
He's living in the southern part of China. Because I've always wanted to make something about really the inside jobs. It's like how the Chinese government is working, because it remains a sort of mystery to the world. I personally would say I know a bit about it, but no one really knows. And actually, that's a sort of topic that normally a director, independent filmmaker is not able to cover because of the access, also because of lacking of knowledge, because you would see actually most of the stories an independent filmmaker is covering is more like the people from the grassroots level, that they have no problem accessing, and also they have no problem understanding their pains and lives. They become a sort of spokesperson for that group of people with very acute tones and standing point. But then we're not really making a propaganda, so how can we make something about the government? We're trying to find stories. And then Zhou Hao came to me and said that he might have chance to film someone called Mr. Geng Yanbo, because his story can be amazing, as he's quite open, and also he's doing something like huge in his city. And that's exactly what we want to do, which is to show the world a China that is complicated. It's not like one polar opinions about Chinese government, which is always bullying the civilians, which is not exactly the truth. But from any of the independent film ever made in China, that's the image. We were thinking, well, that would be something interesting. But then, what shall we cover in the film? Is more like, because the mayor wants to develop his city. That city is only depending on the coal mining, which makes the city very polluted. So the mayor thinks it's not sustainable. He wants to change the city into a tourist destination, given the fact that the city happens to be the ancient capital 1,600 years ago in ancient China. So it has a lot of cultural relics. So in order to restore these cultural relics, he needs to relocate 500,000 people and put down 150,000 households. That's the dilemma. And actually, that's the situation where everyone sees China. It's developing very fast. How to maintain the balance of development and protection of the people's rights and history is always the question. But actually, this is a hard choice, because no matter what you choose, there's always objections. And there's no choice that can be made that can satisfy 100% for everyone. And that's something we want to show. We are not holding a sort of opinion on that. So I think, back to the question, back to the point, why those films could definitely, not really definitely, but they have more chances to come out, I think, is because we really provide a very unique, a new perspective, a new insight into China, which is not the stereotyped especially the Western mainstream media talking about. Actually, I said at Sundance that, I mean, even like New York Times or Washington Post today, it's very easy for them to find evidence for whatever the statement is, because China is very huge. It has a huge population, a large size. Whatever you want to say, you can always find a story on that. But the thing is that that's only part of the whole thing. So what is the whole thing? I cannot say that this is the whole thing, but at least I provide a different perspective to get into the country. And actually, I think that's why. I mean, I sang Sundance in a way in the ceremony when I got the award, because I was pretty amazed that you know, a documentary that is not against the government that can be given an award in a mainstream documentary festival in the U.S., which actually makes me happy. Yes, but I would say any films that you try to be honest to yourself and try to provide a very different perspective, really get into the society. Anything that is characteristic in China would be interesting to explore for any people in the world that has interest in China. And these people are supposed to be our audience. Yes.
Well, that raises a very interesting, important point, because this film has very bright future outside of China. There's been a lot of acclaim for it, and it looks like the theatrical and television are interested in distributing this film. But then, what about China? Does this film have a good chance of being seen in China?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, I mean, no, it doesn't mean it's a no. It just say it's not for sure. Yes, we have a lot of broadcasters coming in the world. We have BBC and NHK, PBS. Kevin is helping us to do the theatrical. We have digital platforms as well. Maybe we'll hit on Netflix, or iTunes, Amazon's. But then China. I mean, actually, all the things would be the leverage to show the film in China, because they're supposed to be the real audience, and the film like that, no Chinese people has ever watched that. I guess you people haven't had a chance to really see when a mayor, a high-ranking mayor, said, dirty words in the meetings, in the internal meetings, and it's subtle. I mean, the situation. That would be another challenge in my producing career, how to handle different parts. I may need sort of advice maybe from Mr. Yang, because he's running the website, his official website, who can, against or pro some sort of opinions. But in general, I would say maybe there's 1% chance to show that in China. We're going to try that. Because if you want to show the film in China, especially independent documentary films, for this one, in the procedure, it's like if you have a registered company, you have to apply. You have to apply the permit to shoot the film before you shoot the film to the authorities in your local district, which is like the administration of radio, film, and television. Yes, and then as long as it's approved, and then you have your permit to shoot, and then you shoot. After you're shooting the film, you have to give the film back to the authorities to check. They're gonna check that, and they're gonna have some recommendations for you. And as long as you make everyone satisfied and go through the technical check, and then you'll be issued a permit to show the film in theater. So that's like a dragon label. We call it dragon label anyway. And then as long as you have that label, and then you're able to show that in the theaters. Otherwise, there's no chance to put it in the cinemas. So the thing is that we didn't have the permit to shoot. Well, we didn't apply, because otherwise maybe we didn't have a chance to see the film. But now the film is there, so we're gonna see if they are willing to check that. But I would doubt they're gonna decide eternally. I think films like such, they need to report to their authorities because we're talking about quite high-ranking officials. But I think for this film, I would say it would be really, itself would be even a larger achievement than making it shown on Sundance. I mean, if we can put that in the theater, and also it's a sign as well to show the attitude of the authorities of the Chinese, the Department of Ideology or whatever, because that shows, they begin to see things in a different perspective. Because this film is like, we try to be impartial. It doesn't mean that we are factually impartial, but we try to be impartial to tell the story about China and also a story about a Chinese official. And we have people against him, we have people supporting him, and that's like exactly what China is. And it's quite inspiring in this way, and sometimes can be challenging, but at least it provides a candid look, into the society. And if they believe, as long as you're candid and honest, and then they can accept that, and then itself would be a good sign for future, for other independent documentary films, I think, to hit the big screen in China.
Dean Wang and Dr. Yang, I mean, it's really this question of how do you connect, how do these films speak to a Chinese viewer? So when these microfilms are made, how are they made in such a way that can communicate to a Chinese viewer? One question I have really is, does a Chinese viewer have their own kind of sensibilities that's different from maybe like a Western viewer? Like, do they respond to things differently? Is a Chinese documentary aesthetic different from a Western documentary aesthetic? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Before I answer the question, I want to ask a question. Have you ever considering about divided the long documentary into short videos to upload the website? Because if you upload the short videos up on the website, the officials, the government, they can't forbid this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really, Mr. Yang?
就是
I doubt.
问他有没有考虑过把他的长片做成短的这个微视频上传到网站上面，这样他就可以不用去拿龙标，就不要走一套非常复杂的程序。
No, actually, getting the Dragon label to release in theater is more like a marketing potential, as well as a sign. Basically, that's like a gesture that you put such a film in the theater, because putting the film in the theater needs to be approved by the authorities or the government. So putting the film itself in the theater is not just to make money. It's more like to test the attitude of the authority, to see, I mean, where's the line, where's the ceiling, if they can accept the films like that or not. So basically, So maybe such films can be made, but cannot be shown.
Right. Yeah. But I think there's regulations also for the internet. The kind of videos you can put on the internet are also being monitored. Right?
Yes. So I think the biggest adventure of microfilm is more flexible.
Oh. So not every film will be because there's so many movies.
Yes, so movie and many fragments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like there are many video websites like the Vimeo in China, Youku, Tudou, iQIYI. So it's free to...
It's more, because there are just so many. It's hard to monitor all of them.
If the topics of your works is is very interesting, so any viewer can watch it on the internet.
Well, okay, so this brings up a really, really interesting recent example that, if I can find it. Okay, so just this past week, there was this viral sensation on the internet about air pollution in China. And it was actually presented as a 104-minute feature. So that's also remarkable, and I would love to get response from both of you because it's a feature film, but it's put online for free on Chinese internet. And I think it got something like 2 million views?
No, 200 million.
200 million views.
Yes.
I mean, that's just, like, just makes your mind explode, just how much. So maybe we can watch just a little bit of it. It was made by a celebrity named Chai Jing, so it's not really amateur like microfilm. I mean, she is a journalist and a celebrity environmental activist. Let's just watch a little bit of it just to get a sense of what this looks like. What a 200 million.
1个月里头25天雾霾。我当时在北京，当我这一年里反复看这条曲线的时候。
So it's like a TED Talk.
You can look at the subtitle.
Yeah, I can't move it. Let's see if we can. Yeah, I'm sorry about the subtitles. It's too big.
那个月里头，我还去了4个地方出差：陕西、河南、江西、浙江。回头看视频里的天空，当时的中国正被卷入一场覆盖了25。
So you just, I mean, I just want to give you a sense. It's really kind of like Al Gore's movie, Inconvenient Truth. It's really like a PowerPoint presentation in a feature-length form. So that's fascinating because it's like, is this, you know, I mean, okay, so here's some interludes. Okay, so it's like pre-existing news footage kind of piled together with a TED Talk. I mean, just from an aesthetic standpoint, it has many different elements. I guess tailored for an online viewing experience. And I think that's very fascinating, you know, because you can say Zhao Qi's, you know, the Chinese mayor is more like old school, traditional, observational, investigating documentary. And so that works very well in film festivals and in television and in movie theaters. But this is like something that you wouldn't watch in a movie theater, but it becomes very effective as an online video. So I want to hear more about this Chinese sort of microfilm aesthetic. Like, what is the key to making something very powerful online for Chinese viewers?
You should get a celebrity. That's the key issue.
Huh.
我的什么？我在这个纪录片节上，我就特别想提到这个新媒体和纪录片之间的这个关系。
I want to say something about the documentary, especially the micro documentary, the relationship with the new media.
不管是世界还是在中国，我们会看到纪录片它的从纪实性这个角度说，非常接近于新闻和报道。所以我们看到像柴静这样的，他是一个传媒人，转身去做这样一个纪录片。当然，他是不是纪录片还存在争议。
We can find that documentary is close to report or news, investigate report, right? Just like Chai Jing, she is a reporter of CCTV.
Yes. 在我做这个纪录片之前，我也做了将近20年的记者。
Before I become a filmmaker, Ding Yang was a reporter, yeah, for almost 20 years.
那么我们现在看到纪录片碰到的问题，在今天非常相似于传统媒体碰到的问题。
Documentary.
说挑战吧。
Yeah, documentary meet some charges and difficulties, just like the traditional media meet today.
柴静作为一个名人，当然她也是一个美女和才女，她在中央电视台工作的这个经历，加在一起没有她在48小时里面发布的这部片子的影响力大。
the powerful of this Chinese video is bigger than the experience of her in CCTV.
Say that again.
The powerful of this video is bigger than the experience.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
it's powerful than the
background
reporters,
and her
the
persona,
background.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
所以它是24个小时内，它的点击过亿，48小时过了2亿。
Yeah, in 20 hours, the 点击怎么讲
Clicks,
yeah, the clicks is more than 200 million, and in 48 hours, the clicks is over 400 million. Yes.
今天中国的移动互联网用户已经突破了8亿。
Yeah. Today, in this new media age, the mobile internet users, the number of is over 800 million.
Right.
Yeah.
所以我们在前几天在上海参加这个英国的创意论坛的时候，我们听到阿里巴巴他的董事长、他的总裁这个马云做的一个报告，就是我们相信阿里巴巴今天在世界上创造的这样一个奇迹，我们可能在不远的将来，我们会在纪录片或者自媒体的发展上，中国为世界又提供新的一个奇迹。
Before we went to American for the festival, we present English Creative Fest in Shanghai. There was a forum between Jack Ma, the president of Alibaba, Ma Yun, with another UK's traditional media group, and in that forum, we thought the miracle that Alibaba made today will be recreated on the internet, yeah, in soon.
我们有时候用一个词叫密度，今天其实中国的互联网用户已经有非常多的这个能量密集，以至于我们在政府的管理上，不得不采取越来越多的强化的这个措施。所以刚才我看到这个赵琦导演说到他的片子能不能在中国以互联网的形式播映，其实也会碰到越来越多的这个限制 limit。
Okay. We use a word density.
Density.
Yeah, density. The word is say about the powerful of the common person in the internet, what they do and what they say, what is their focus on. So on basis of this new status, the government is thinking about methods to supervise this.
Supervise. Yeah.
Supervise.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Now let me ask you this, because we have Zhao Qi, who's like one of the preeminent documentary producer of Chinese independent documentaries. He's had a very successful career. Now, for a young documentary filmmaker today, do you think the internet is basically the biggest opportunity for them more than TV?
你觉得互联网是不是对于这种传统的纪录片来说是一个很好的机遇？
对，我觉得是。
Yes.
Are there professional opportunities to make these kinds of documentaries for websites like Alibaba or Sina or?
就是他们这种传统的纪录片的制作者，能不能把他们的作品给，比如说阿里巴巴或者新浪这种视频网站？
是这样的，我来解释一下，就是我们在我们的微电影节里面，我们专门有个单元是纪录片。实际上，我们想提出的一种概念就是微纪录片的概念，它和传统的纪录片还是有很多区别的，不只是在它的长度上。
In our microfilm festival, there is a specific section is called documentary. 纪
录片我觉得更多的是符合传统的电影市场， 传统的电视的市场和他们的一种创作习惯。而今天我们提到的微纪录片，它除了长度之外，它还要考虑到用户碎片化的时间的使用，所以它在创作理念上是不一样的。
The traditional documentary film is suitable for the traditional film market and the viewer habit of the traditional audience. But the microfilm, not only the time is short, but also it is very fragment, and it is suitable for the new audience. Yeah, just like we like to watch some short videos in the iPhone. Yes.
Right.
在过去我们一个基本的理念，我们认为传统的媒体，它自然是精英，它可以为所有的受众提供经过选择的观点和结论。
In our traditional concept, the reporter or the filmmaker is elite.
Elite.
Yeah, elite is some professional persons, and many grassroots provide many fragments, and these fragments together provide nearly truth. Yeah.
Or at least it's a greater spread of voices, and the voice is a more collective voice. Or
Yes, we can see more and get much more information from different people. Yes.
Sorry, 我再补充一句，所以我们比如说像柴静刚才这个片子，我们就会看到它和传统的不一样，它可以在24小时之内就汇聚成了具有可以写成一本论文集的这么多的观点。我们看到在短短的1周时间里面，对于他的这个作品或者说他的产品，有各种各样完全不同的意见和观点。这种互动性，这种碰撞，是在传统媒体时代很难看到的。
Yeah. After the common people watched the Chai Jing's video, there are many activities. Yeah, interactive between the ordinary people with the professional persons, and especially many knowledges from the different subjects, from different aspects. More professional person focus on this, and they can choose some fault in the video and can give more advice.
Right, so it stimulates an even larger conversation.
Yes.
So in some way, the documentary is just the first step of the larger conversation.
Yeah, just like the firelight.
So since we are talking about collective voices, maybe we should welcome some voices from the audience for some questions. This has been I found this very stimulating conversation.
You don't have any questions?
Yeah.
Like Sobo.
Yeah, Kevin Lee. This was actually very enlightening, this whole discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. I just noticed that you worked as a supervising producer at the movies with Roger Ebert.
Right.
And I wondered if you had any interaction with Roger Ebert, and if Roger Ebert had talked about any of these topics.
Actually, that is a great question, because I did work for Roger Ebert's TV show for its final season, and one thing I produced was a report on Chinese cinema, and it aired online, and it was basically the first time that the TV show in its 35 years had done a special segment on Chinese cinema. So so it was a great opportunity to introduce Chinese cinema to a national audience. Thank you for reminding me of that. But it just goes to show how rare those opportunities are to expose an American audience or a Western audience to Chinese films. You know, I remember the report it started off with like a Feng Xiaogang movie, which is like a really big multi-million-dollar blockbuster film, and then it ended with like these independent filmmakers in rural China, you know, shooting films with students, kind of like what Ding Yang and Dr. Wang are doing in the city. So yeah, there's just this tremendous breadth of activity with regard to Chinese film. And I think you have a really great point about, you know, you can say anything you want about Chinese cinema because just like China, it has so many different things to show you, and you can't notice everything. It's like the proverbial, you know, 7 blind men around the elephant, and each blind man touches a different part, and they think that's what it is. And I hope that this discussion has really opened our eyes. It certainly has for me, just like between showing films internationally in like prestigious festivals, and the amount of difficulty and work it gets to get to that point, where they only select maybe 1 or 2 Chinese movies, to having a microfilm on a website that then gets 100 million views, you know? And I think there's you know, a lot of contradictions that are happening here that I'm trying to process right now. So yeah, it's huge. Any questions? Any more questions?
The Chinese are shy.
Do you think you would make a microfilm, or you'd be involved in producing microfilms?
Welcome.
No, actually, we are doing that. We have a lot of cutaways in a way. For instance, we make a film for 1 hour and a half. We shoot for like 3 years. We usually have over 200 hours, which means, you know, 190 hours are gone. Actually, they're precious as well. There could be a lot of data there. So actually, we're like doing sort of research to take advantage of these cutaways, these footages, and try to pack up the whole thing in a more multimedia and visual journalism way, journalistic way. Taking maybe a long-form documentary as a main product, but also we have many little small byproducts on the way, and you know, and also making those interactive maybe writings merged with stills or part of the small videos together, like for instance the Snowstorm by New York Times, for instance, something like that. Actually, I think each like independent documentary films would have such a potential because it has digged into the topic so well. The director or the whole crew knows so many little stories behind the owning feature length production, which needs to be shown. Yeah. So yeah, we are doing that.
Yeah. At the same time, I wonder if this long-form documentary still can be very valuable to let the audience spend more time and get more deeply into the complex aspects of a topic.
Yes, we don't deny the valuable, the remarkable of traditional documentary. We just want more persons, grassroots, to join the documentary, to record their lives and the changes around the world, and to provide more materials for the audience. Yeah.
Yes.
The internet let the traditional culture and nation become diversity. I think this is very important. Yeah. Internet give us a big chance, and we want more persons to join.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Bye-bye. I just want to ask Mr. Zhao, which way do you prefer to make your documentary, like by digital or by tape? Because digital device is so ubiquitous right now?
Oh, we all make digital.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah. We didn't have money to make films, of course. And, well, right now there's no tapes anymore.
Right.
It's just like all digital right now. Very cheap digital, little camcorder for that one, actually.
Instant.
Right. One reason why we at Degenerate named our company Degenerate was because it was to promote the digital generation of filmmakers. Really, in the last 15 years, Chinese independent filmmakers really embraced digital video cameras and editing equipment and DVDs and digital distribution. This really created this almost like a revolutionary change in who gets to make documentary films, how they get to make them, and how they get to show them to other people. And it led to all these film festivals in China as well. But now what's really making me think now is the internet as this new stage of this degeneration, where they used to want to make a feature film and then show it in a film festival or get it on television. But it seems like this younger generation, they just want it to go viral, you know. they want it to show something very quickly and make a very instant impact, and then have everyone on Weibo or Twitter talk about it, and that. So it's really a new kind of culture, even.
Yes, video is becoming a very popular way to express themselves. You know, in China there is a very popular apps, WeChat.
Right.
Yeah, and WeChat, there is a function is 8 seconds videos.
Right.
Yeah, so you can see many short videos in the WeChat. So I think more persons will like this way to express.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, the question I'm left wondering as we wrap up is like, you know, where does a film festival like True False, how can they acknowledge all this activity that's going on online? You know, because it seems like so much great documentary filmmaking is happening in these like 5-minute or 10-minute pieces on the internet. And so then that may change the role of film festivals. Do film festivals connect to those things? But I'm really glad that we used this event to share some of these microfilms, and maybe next year we can show some more. I hope so.
Yeah.
My film, Transformers: The Premake, actually premiered on YouTube 1 week before the actual Transformers movie. So but it's really great to have a chance to show it on the big screen. So if you want to join me, it's 12 o'clock at Oddfellows. And again, the film produced by Zhao Qi, the Chinese mayor, which I strongly recommend that you watch. It's really one of the best films in the festival this year. Will be at 4:45 today at the Vimeo Theater, and I think it's also playing 2 more times this weekend. Or
it's 4 screenings altogether, but that will be the only 4 screenings you're going to have. I mean, the chance to watch that, because it may not hit the screen in China, so it's really precious chance. You're going to value that.
Right, you'll get to see it.
It's not for self-promotion, but this is really something.
You'll get to see it before 1 billion people in China get to see it, so that's really, really special. Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.